player, tough defense. That's what Rick Barnes is looking for, and that's what four-star Amari Evans is bringing to the Tennessee Volunteers this season. He's the number 50 player nationally, the number 11 small forward in this class, and the number 4 player out of the state of Georgia, standing in at 6'5" and 200 pounds, and out of overtime elite. He was the overtime elite defensive player of the year. Maddie sounds like a staple to me, and you just got back from Knoxville, matter of fact. I don't know how this keeps happening, but we record an episode right after you go to another city for your job. So
I mean, listen, Knoxville, while I didn't get to see a whole lot of the city, there was Tennessee orange everywhere. So I know there's a lot of fans that are going to be super pumped about Amari Evans coming to their town and helping out the Vols this season, because a small forward like this guy, 6'10" wingspan, big dude, very athletic, is going to be able to get the job done for him this year.
I do think so. And like I said, I think he is like a Rick Barnes type of
Mhm.
player. And I got my ties to Tennessee. You should check out Knoxville more. It's a good town. It's a really good town. My brother-in-law lives out there in Murreville, which is the correct way to pronounce that. It's not Maryville, apparently, when you go out there. But Knoxville, great area out there. But let's talk about Amari Evans. And if I call him Amari Williams again, I apologize, everyone. I've only said that name about 5,000 times last season. And you can ask Maddie. We've done 3 takes already on this episode. Let's get started, Maddie. Let's talk about the athletics for Amari Evans. As you mentioned, long arms, long wingspan, 6'10" wingspan, and he's got hands that match it. Powerful with a muscular build. And he's got that college ready body, and a mature approach to the game is what a lot of scouts saw out of him coming out of overtime elite. And he was an early bloomer physically overall. And he's able to get out there, and he was been able to overpower his opposition with that sheer strength that he has. His approach and his floor game have shown clear impressions of maturing as well there on the floor. But the biggest things that like scouts are saying he's got to get a little bit better on are some of the quickness. Like he's got to get a little bit more laterally quick. He's got to get a little bit more explosive and needs a little bit more wiggle. That being said, he's got physical tools that enable him to play multiple positions. He's got guard-like skills that are continuing to progress, and he's got some leadership potential that he's shown over time, and a really strong work ethic overall, and is flat out competitive. Already sounds like a Rick Barn player, Maddie.
Definitely. I mean, looking over Amari Evans' tape, you really look at some of those factors that you mentioned that he has to work on. He's got the physicality, he's got the athleticism. So, working with this team over at Tennessee, they're going to be able to help with those, quick twitch muscles, get him ready to make
Get on
those
that college feeding plan. Yeah.
exactly. So, I think these things are just what's to come, because they're going to get worked out, because there's nothing, absolutely glaring about Amari Evans that say, I don't know about him. It's just, when is it going to happen? When's it going to pop? And he is going to be phenomenal on the court for Tennessee.
Yeah, and let's talk about that offense a little bit for his game. These are areas that he needs to grow up just a little bit most of, but he's got some tools here that make him really good. He's an aggressive scoring mindset kind of player, and he can get downhill quickly. Much more efficient within the last couple of years of his high school and overtime elite career, and with his ability to play with other talented players. And he's learned how to space the floor just a little bit. He can create that extra pass and make that contribution on the offensive end as well. And he's getting better at making his cuts and making his reads to get in the basket. He's showing that potential as a pick and roll threat overall, and he's made progress so far as a spot up shooter on the offensive end, which is something that, frankly, Tennessee's going to need at the wing, because they have 2 players there that are going to be very young, which we'll be talking about a little bit more in a second. But Maddie, we know the staple. Tennessee's had a top 10 defense, it seems like forever, under Rick Barnes at this point. Let's talk about those defensive skills.
Yeah, I mean, as a small forward, this is probably one of the most important parts of your game, because this is where you're really going to shine, be able to turn that defense into offense quickly. And he's really embraced the defensive end of the floor. He's got length, he's got strength, he's physical, and his competitiveness make him an absolute terror to deal with on the defensive end. And he's capable of defending multiple positions. Like we said, he's got a long wingspan, that small forward spot. Sometimes you're able to move around a little bit and cover multiple positions. It's going to be great for being able to switch on defense throughout the lineup. You can guard a guard, or you can guard us forward, or maybe even we'll see him down in the paint trying to use some of that quickness to be able to get some loose balls. But he is active off the ball as well, blowing up some dribble handoffs, and he is very, very disruptive, which, like you said, Rick Barnes prototype through and through on the defensive end.
That's all I keep seeing every time I watch this kid's like tape and everything else is I'm like, this is a Rick Barnes basketball player, like 100%. And that's why we keep saying it over and over again. Let's talk about this wing spot here just a little bit for the Vols this season because they're young. Let's just be completely clear. We've talked about their wings right here in the freshman 15 series. Nate Ament and Amari Evans. Like these guys are going to have to contribute out there at the number 3 spot. And you look at what you lost last year with some of that defensive edge that you just really have come to be known from, especially with Jemai Makeshack now gone. Amari Evans is really a step up defensive player that's going to have to fill that role now that Makeshack's in the NBA. Like this is a different era. This is a player who's turning that chapter here. And I think both Nate Ament and Amari Evans are going to see the floor. I don't necessarily think Amari Evans is going to start at the 3, given that you have a 5-star coming in and a lot of expectations on that kid. But Amari Evans is certainly a player that's going to be out there to, give him a break. Get out there, take a couple of minutes, get out there, play some really good defense, and someone you can sub in maybe at the 2 position as well, as another guard possibly as well, because he's got those guard skills out there in his ability. So I think he works really well in this depth chart for Tennessee. We'll get into it in the season previews about like that overall thought when we talk about how young they are in certain spots and how different this team is. But talent wise, you have to be really pleased with what Rick Barnes has brought in here for that number 3 spot.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's like you said, you got the 5-star coming in Nate Ament. Amari Evans, like you said, the work ethic is phenomenal. And if I've noticed anything from this tape, this kid is hungry. So he may be battling for that number 1 spot. So we may see some very, very good minutes and him capitalizing on those opportunities when he gets on the floor.
What is it? The expression "iron sharpens iron." What makes toughness makes players tougher. Everything like that. This is a good defensive player, and I can see a lot here as we wait for fall ball to get started for fall practices. It would not surprise me if we start hearing stories throughout the throughout the rest of the preseason as practice is going on about Amari Evans out here challenging Nate Ament and Nate Ament having to raise his game when these two have to square off each other when they're going 5-on-5 in practice and things like that. So looking forward to see what this kid brings to Tennessee this year. Like I said, I don't think he's going to be a starter. I don't think he's going to be that star, but he is that prototype Rick Barnes player. So if he's not making a huge contribution here in year 1, year 2, year 3, this is a player that I think you can have some expectations around, right? For the future of Tennessee if he sticks around there in Knoxville. Guys, thank you so much for watching today. We've got more stuff coming away. Of course, we took a little break here during Slam Dunk Summer Camp as we're continuing our Freshman 15 series. Getting to the back end portion of this, we got a few more videos to go. But for you Tennessee fans, before you know it, your season preview is going to be on the way. And we're going to have so much preseason content that me and Maddie have just got done discussing. So we're excited to bring you that. So please like and subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Thanks, guys. Have a great week.